Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the concept of independence in drumming. So I recently learned this. I was watching Chad Smith. He's a drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he laid down the live drum beats on Break My Heart for Dua Lipa. And he does this fantastic video where he explains how he did this. And from watching that video, I learned about independence, independence in drumming. There are some drummers in the world, they are quite rare, who can keep 4 different rhythms, one with each limb. All right. And today, what I want to talk about is keeping a steady beat on the hi-hat with the right hand. Right. So this is something that every drummer has done. And what I think is really interesting is I spent a huge amount of my life exploring Dungeons and Dragons, what Dungeons and Dragons can do, right? And I think one of the reasons why I've done this is I am extremely interested. I don't think we know what Dungeons and Dragons is. I think we know some of the things Dungeons and Dragons can do, but I don't think we know what Dungeons and Dragons is. And I don't think we even know whether we're going to discover it or whether we're going to forge it, right? Or if we're going to watch it grow, right? Like, because it has a life of its own and it's going to reveal itself, right, to us. It's incredible, right? But dungeon masters are responsible for bringing Dungeons and Dragons to life for the people at the table, and increasingly the people beyond the table. The idea that the impact of Dungeons and Dragons ends at the table is absurd, right? I think what we should be thinking about with Dungeons and Dragons is that what happens at the table is the place where the rock hits the water, right? And the ripples that's just the impact point, right? The ripples go out way farther, right? Brennan Lee Mulligan has Dimension 20, and those guys, they have a live action play that has impacted millions of viewers, right? Changed their lives, changed what they've thought about narrative and identity, right? That's significant. That's very, very significant. B. Dave Walters, a pioneer in the dungeon mastering space, and just really changing things. So what is keeping a steady beat on the hi-hat with the right hand? And I think that is engagement at the table. Engagement at the table. Are the people that you are running Dungeons and Dragons for engaged? And you're like, oh, that seems simple. It's not simple. It changes even what we thought even a few years ago. Previously, one of the worst takes that's ever been said about Dungeons and Dragons was that the point of Dungeons and Dragons was to have fun. Right? That's fundamentally wrong. I just watched The Long Walk. This is a deeply impacting, incredible film. Okay, it's not fun. No one is going to enjoy watching that, right? But you will be changed once you finish it. You will know things you didn't know before it. You will feel things that you haven't felt before. It's different. It's really different, right? And so I think, the steady beat on the hi-hat with the right hand is simply engaging the players at the table, and making sure that they care about what's happening with their character, that they care what's happening with the Dungeon Master's non-player characters, and that they care what's happening with every other Dragon Master's player character at the table. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.